welcome Orbita.
Hi, I'm Bill Rogers. I'm the CEO of Orbita. Orbita is a conversational AI platform that's used in healthcare. We're just around the corner over in the WeWorks office. So what's the problem? So in healthcare, one of the major problems is engagement. And to be able to engage people in the bedside, in the hospital, but to also be able to engage patients as they leave the hospital. Actually, it's across the whole spectrum of care. So it could be pharmaceutical, it could be clinical trials. And ultimately, you need to be able to engage. What Orbita's done is we've created a conversational AI platform that is a low-code interface to allow non-technical people to create these experiences, but all the way down to a low-code interface for developers to integrate with AI tools to be able to create those conversations. It's omni-channel. And so why omni-channel? So when you think about a patient that's in a bedside, that patient may be using an Alexa. And we're deployed in 3 hospitals in Australia with Deloitte with a bedside assistant where the person can say, I need to go to the bathroom, or when is visiting hours, or they can ask any sort of question and they can get any kind of service, but it gets routed to the right person at the right time to be able to engage with that particular user. So you as an organization start to think about, what does it mean to have a voice assistant as part of your brand? And so not only is it part of your brand, but it's just like how websites and mobile apps has revolutionized how you're going to be able to interact. A voice assistant is going to transform your business. And in healthcare, it's going to transform healthcare. And we're very excited that there's some revolutionary things that are happening here to engage with patients at a pretty dramatic rate. In fact, when you think about the types of clients that are already using it, these are Orbita clients that are using the technology today across the spectrum of healthcare. You have people like Mayo Clinic that's building 7 different applications to interact with patients, from patients discharging, to be able to interact with a patient through a web portal, to be able to answer questions around content. For example, when a patient would say, how do I treat appendicitis? And our system delivers through a knowledge graph the response. And then when that person says, what are the symptoms of appendicitis? It knows that if they just say, what are the symptoms? It knows the context of what they're asking for. And so ultimately delivering humanized experiences. Think about when you're having a patient that just had an operation, they go home, they have a chronic condition, and you want to engage with them. Or they're in a senior home facility and you want to interact with a care protocol to understand, do they know and understand around that? And so what we would like to do is actually talk about how does the platform transform how you're going to design, build, manage, and optimize that solution? And so part of that building is creating these conversational interfaces in a visual way, first starting out with a prototyping tool, then with a visual drag and drop interface. If you can draw it on a napkin, you can put it into Orbita and create the experience, and within minutes create that kind of experience. So what I'm going to do now is demonstrate what an experience would look like. So I'm just going to use, so it gives me an omni-channel. We can work any kind of web, chatbot for call deflection. We can use across an Echo Show that's over there. We can even work, all mobile apps are going to be voice enabled. They're going to be conversations. And so with this, I'm going to bring this up and start a conversation. So imagine I'm a patient that just went home, I went to a care facility, and I'm going to start asking me, the conversation interface is to make it easy for people to use it. Open senior care.
Check, this one might work better.
Time for your afternoon health session. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
Please answer by saying yes or no. When you think of the future, do you feel afraid or scared?
I feel afraid.
I am sorry to hear that. Have you fallen in the past 2 days?
Nope.
Great. am glad to hear you haven't fallen recently. Did you know, non-prescription medications can interact with prescription medications? The interactions can cause your medications to become less effective. Next, your care team would like you to complete a fall risk screening. Are you ready to get started?
I am.
Do you have any stairs or steps in your home?
I have stairs.
Do you have any carpets?
Yep.
Do you have any hardwood, vinyl or tile floors?
I have hardwood.
Do you use throw rugs?
No.
Are all areas of your home well lit enough for you to see clearly?
They are.
Do you have handrails or grab bars installed?
Both.
Do you use assistive devices like a walker or wheelchair?
I use a wheelchair.
Do you have friends and family that can help you?
Yes.
Do you ever feel dizzy, lightheaded or off balance?
No.
Do you ever rush to the telephone or bathroom?
No.
Next, can I ask you a question about your medications?
Yes.
You had a medication reminder at 8 a.m. Have you taken this medication?
I have not.
Do you plan to take your medication?
I do not.
Okay. Why don't you want to take your medication?
It makes me feel sick.
Sorry to hear that. I will let your care team know. Next, I would like to review your data measurements. Are you ready to get...
Cancel.
Enjoy your day.
So, one of the things about natural language interfaces is it has to be natural. You see lots of interfaces out there in the marketplace that just can let you ask yes, no questions, but they don't let you be able to interact in a more natural way. And that's one of the things that's revolutionizing how we'll be able to interact with people. So with that, I'm just going to open it up to some questions. Yes. It can be changed to 16 different types of voices, and we're deployed internationally. So we're in Switzerland, we're in Japan, we're already being deployed in Australia. So, and yes, for the all different types of voices. We don't try to pretend that we're a human, but being more human-like makes people more interact with it. In fact, Mayo Clinic has found in their studies that people are more likely to give an answer to the bot that's the actual real answer than if they're talking to a nurse where they might feel like they're being judged. Yes. Yes. Yep. So what we are doing is that Orbita sits on top of natural language processors like Amazon and Google. What we've done is we've created a vocabulary, and we do have AI so that when you ask questions like, how did you sleep last night, and you get a response, we'll process that data independent of the natural language processor to know what we want to go do with it. But being focused in healthcare, what we're doing is we're leveraging, that's one great thing about healthcare is that there is a huge amount of content that already exists so that we can ingest into our knowledge graph human readable, content that can be used in these experiences. Any other questions? Yes.
Can I ask you how large is the data set, or how many records do you need to go through to be able to forecast this kind of
So what's interesting in this process is that it's a combination of using AI and it's a combination of using decision tree logics. Healthcare has an enormous amount of decision tree logic. So in fact, when you divert from the decision tree logic, then you might be crossing over into a regulatory issue. But like, for example, when we ask a patient, what are your symptoms, we're using a decision tree that's predefined. And so if the doctor should ask the same way the bot should ask, if you answer a certain way, the decision trees tells the doctor, you should ask this question next, that's exactly what we're doing. Any other questions? Yes.
How is the information provided to the care team in the EHR system?
Yeah, so there's integrations to electronic health records with our solution. We're often being deployed with remote patient monitoring systems, so sometimes we're just pushing the data back to a remote patient monitoring system like a Medtronics. Thank you.